everybody. Welcome. We're going to try out using a little bit of technology to work on our yoga. Let me get the music started here. So first, let's just begin in an easy seated position, and this can be on your mat. This can absolutely be in a chair with your feet on the floor. But let's just find ourselves sitting here in this easy seated position and just let your eyes close for just a moment. Let's just take just a moment to breathe here as we get started. Not changing the breath, just breathing naturally. Just kind of taking just a moment here. And let your eyes just flutter open. And let's find ourselves on our backs. And this can absolutely also be done in a chair. But if you're on your back, just lying down on the mat, maybe letting your knees bend with your feet flat on the floor, spaced about hip distance apart, and just letting your knees kind of move in, lean in against one another, letting your arms stretch down by your sides. On your next inhale, just taking your arms up overhead, back behind you. And as you exhale, just bringing the arms back up overhead and back down by your side. We're going to do this a few times, just using your own breath as your guide. Really inhaling the entire way that your arms are coming up behind you, and exhaling the entire way that they are coming back down by your sides. Just inhaling, exhaling, really drawing out those inhales and exhales. Let's do one more inhale and exhale here. When you find your arms back down by your side, just taking a moment here to just feel the effects of just that little bit of movement and what that did for your body. And then just bring your knees in towards your chest for a gentle hug. And on an inhale, let's stretch the body out long in both directions. And on an inhale, bring the knees in, wrap your arms around for a gentle hug. And again, on an inhale, stretching the body out long in both directions. And exhale, bringing the knees in towards the body. Do just a few more here, using your own breath as your guide, inhaling as you stretch out long, and exhaling as you squeeze in tight. Let's do one more nice big inhale, stretching out long. And exhale, bringing those knees in close to the body. Really wrapping your arms around your knees. Maybe lifting your head up off the ground. And coming back down. Keeping those knees in tight. Inhaling once more. And As you exhale, just let the knees drop over to the right, stretching your arms out long to the sides to a T. Maybe you gaze out over that left fingertips. Nice recline twist here. Wringing out the spine. Your next inhale or exhale, bringing your knees back up to center. Just holding there for just a moment. And then just letting your knees drop over to the left. Your arms are extended out to the side if that feels good. They can also be up, bending your elbows kind of into a cactus shape. Maybe you gaze out over your right fingertips. Nice stretch in the neck. On your next exhale, just bringing your knees back up to center. Maybe giving yourself one more little hug, rounding the body. And then slowly just coming up into an easy seated position. Crossing your legs. Or as I mentioned, this could absolutely be done in a chair. So let's just find our sit bones grounded on the floor. Maybe placing our palms on our knees. And on an inhale, let's just do some seated cats and cows. So on an inhale, just coming forward, really opening up through the chest, taking your gaze up towards the ceiling. And on an exhale, using the knees there to kind of ground down, really round the spine. Again, on an inhale, coming forward, gazing up at the ceiling. And on an exhale, rounding the back into cat. Letting that chin drop down towards your chest. We'll do just a few more here. You can use your own breath as your guide, inhaling as you gaze up at the ceiling, opening up into cow, and exhaling as you round into cat. Really using your breath here. Let's do one more in each direction. Inhaling as you gaze up at the ceiling. And exhaling as you round that back. Coming back up to center, grounding down through those sit bones. Let's sit up nice and tall, and let's do a couple of seated twists, one in each direction. So sitting up nice and tall, think about a string kind of pulling your head up towards the ceiling. Your spine is elongated nicely here. Let's just take a nice big inhale, taking your arms up overhead. And on an exhale, let's just take that right palm behind you, place your left palm on your knee, and sitting up nice and tall, just twisting that spine, maybe gazing over the back shoulder. Releasing, coming back to center, and let's inhale our arms up overhead again. And exhaling, let's just twist in the opposite direction. Keeping the spine nice and tall, gazing over that back shoulder. Releasing and coming back to center. And Let's just do a couple of side bends, one to each side. So on an inhale, let's raise our arms up overhead. And on an exhale, placing your palm down on the floor beside you and just leaning over, feeling a nice stretch down the whole side body. Hold that here for a couple of breaths. On your next inhale, just raising that arm back up overhead. And on an exhale, let's just place our opposite palm on the floor and just bend over to the opposite side. Maybe it feels good to take your gaze up towards the ceiling. A little stretch in the neck. Hold that here for just a couple of breaths. On your next inhale, let's just raise your arm back up. Take your gaze up towards the ceiling. And on an exhale, just lower the arms back down by your side. We're going to move just into a tabletop position here, making sure your shoulders are over your wrists, your hips are over your knees, spine is long. We're just going to do some cats and cows here. So inhaling as you open up through the chest, belly's dropping towards the floor, your gaze is going up towards the ceiling. And exhaling as you round the back into cat. Maybe it feels good to kind of play with moving the hips around here. Again, inhaling into cow, opening through the chest, gazing up at the ceiling. Exhaling cat. If it feels good, feel free to play around with moving your hips towards one foot and the other. We'll do a couple more of these, just using your own breath as your guide. Inhaling into cow, exhaling into cat. Let's do one more in each direction. One more time, arching your back into cat. Coming back to center, we're gonna just sit back into a child's pose. You have a couple of options here. You can keep your knees close together, lowering your hips back towards your heels. Your arms can be stretched out long, or they can even wrap around and kind of cup your feet. You can also have your knees wide here if you prefer. It's entirely up to you. We're going to hang out here for a few breaths. Next inhale, just pressing yourself back up to a tabletop position. We're just going to do what I call tiger movements here. So tabletop, your hips are over your knees, your shoulders are over your wrists. We're going to extend one leg out long behind you and extending the opposite arm out in front of you. We'll hold that for just a moment, working on our balance here. And on an exhale, let's just bring your knee in towards your elbow. And on an inhale, let's stretch out long. And again, exhaling as you bring your knee in towards your elbow. Inhaling as you stretch out long. Use your own breath as your guide here. Exhaling as you bring your knee and elbow together, and inhaling as you're stretching out long. We'll do a few more on this side before we move to the other side. more time in each direction. And bringing your hand and your knee back down to the mat. Maybe you roll out that wrist that was supporting you there just a little bit. And we're going to move into the other side. So again, just checking our form. Our shoulders are over our wrists and our hips are over our knees. Extending that opposite leg out long. And then extending your opposite arm out front. Exhaling as you bring the knee in towards the elbow. Inhaling as you stretch out long. Using your own breath as your guide here. Exhaling as your knee and elbow come together. And inhaling as you stretch out long. Let's do just one more. Exhaling as the knee and elbow come together. And inhaling as they stretch out long. And bringing the wrist back down. So we're in a tabletop here. Maybe roll that wrist out just a little bit. Make sure your shoulders are over your wrist and your hips are over your knees. We're going to actually curl our back toes under. And on an exhale, we're just going to press back into downward facing dog. Thinking about encouraging those heels down towards the floor. You can bend your knees here, pedal out your legs. Really staying strong through the shoulders. Getting those pops and cracks out of the ankles. On an inhale, let's actually keep the toes curled, but come back down into downward facing dog. And on an exhale, let's press back up into downward facing dog. I think I said downward facing dog and meant tabletop before. So this is just a little flow here, just using our breath again. Inhaling as we come to tabletop. Exhaling as we press back to downward facing dog. We're really using our breath in this practice. Focusing on the breath while we move our bodies helps us make sure that we are breathing. Oftentimes when we're doing things, we hold our breath and that actually doesn't help us at all. Let's do one more time in tabletop. And then exhale, push yourself back into downward facing dog. And this time, let's just walk your feet forward towards your hands and find yourself in a forward fold. We're just going to hang out here for just a moment. Feet are about hip distance apart. Your knees can absolutely be bent a lot here. Let your head hang heavy. Maybe it even feels good to kind of clasp opposite elbows. Maybe ragdoll, kind of move side to side. And if you have found movement, let's find stillness. Release any bind. Let your fingertips go back down towards the floor. Bend your knees. Inhale all the way up, arms up overhead. Exhale, fold back, forward over those legs. And again, bend your knees. Inhale your arms all the way up overhead. Exhale, bring your hands to heart center. On your next inhale, let's take your arms up into chair pose. And on an exhale, let's fold forward over those legs. We're going to use that here as our flow, inhaling into chair, exhaling as we fold forward over our legs. We'll do that just a few times here. One more time, inhaling your arms up into chair and exhaling as you fold forward over your legs. We're going to hang out there for just a moment and enjoy this forward fold. I'm actually going to move to the back of the mat. Bending your knees, inhaling all the way up, arms up overhead. On an exhale, let's actually fold forward over those legs again. Let's just walk our hands out towards the front of the mat, finding ourselves in a downward facing dog. And then taking your right leg up behind you. And then on an exhale, let's just move your foot forward between your hands. Let's drop the back foot about a 45-degree angle. And coming all the way up to Warrior Two. We're gonna do a little bit of a flow here, again, just using our breath as our guide. So on an inhale, flipping your palm up and just dropping back and revolving your warrior. And on an exhale, letting your forearm come onto your front leg to side angle. Inhaling, revolve your warrior. Exhaling, side angle. We'll do a couple more here on this side, just using your own breath as your guide. Inhaling as you revolve your warrior and exhaling into side angle. One more time in each direction here. And then bringing your hands down to frame that front foot. Step the front foot back to the back of the mat. You're holding yourself in just a quick plank there. And then press back into downward facing dog. And then raising your left foot back behind and stepping your left foot forward between your hands. I'm actually just going to switch ends of the mat here just so I can face the camera. And dropping that back foot down about a 45-degree angle, coming up into Warrior Two. Your arms are out to the side, feeling a nice stretch there in the front and inner thigh of that back leg. On an inhale, you're going to flip your palm up and revolve your warrior. On an exhale, taking your forearm down to your knee, raising your right arm up overhead by the ear, side angle. Again, we're going to do this just a few times here, using your own breath as your guide, inhaling as you revolve your warrior, and exhaling to side angle. Let's do one more time in each direction. Inhaling as you revolve your warrior. Exhaling, side angle. Let's turn and frame that front foot. Pressing your front foot back to the back of your mat. And then pressing yourself up into a downward facing dog. And dropping your knees to the mat and just letting your hips sit back into a child's pose. We'll hang out here for just a moment. Child's pose is great to Just kind of bring your body back to your breath. Just kind of take a moment to recover here. And pressing back up out of the child's pose. Let's just find ourselves sitting on our mat. Or sitting in your chair if you choose to use a chair. Let's actually find ourselves all the way back on our backs, our feet planted firmly on the floor, about hip distance apart. Our arms are down beside our body, and we're going to press up into a bridge, really grounding down through the feet. Really engaging through the front of the legs. If it feels good, you can take your hands underneath you, really opening up through the chest. We'll hold here for a few breaths. And then releasing the bind if you took one. And just letting yourself roll back down to your mat, one vertebrae at a time. And let's do just maybe a reclined pigeon. So just crossing your right ankle over your left knee. This may be as far as you want to go. You can use your hand to kind of press that knee out just a little bit. You're looking for a nice opening in the hips here. If you feel like you have more, you could bring that knee in towards your body. Again, maybe using your elbow there to kind of encourage the knee to go out. Feeling a nice opening through the hip. We're going to hold this here for a few breaths. And then releasing the bind if you have one, letting your foot come back down to the floor. And placing your other foot down on the floor and then crossing your opposite ankle over your knee. And again, each side of our body is different, so just because something felt good on the other side doesn't mean that it will on this side. If it feels good, just clasp behind that knee and lift that leg up. I'm feeling a nice release here in this hip. We'll hold here for just a few breaths. And releasing that foot back down to the floor. Bringing your knees in for a gentle hug. Maybe you kind of take hold of the knees and just do some circles in one direction, giving yourself almost like a little self-massage there in your lower back, and then change directions, going in, just making nice big circles here. And then finding stillness and letting your knees just drop over to the right, extending your arms out long. Maybe it feels good to cross that top leg over the bottom, gazing out over your left fingertips. We're going to hold this here for a minute or so, really twisting the spine, releasing toxins. This is so good for the body. These crazy times that we're in, we can't make it out to our gyms or our yoga studios. feel kind of stressful, but maybe if we just take just a moment to think about all the things that we have to be grateful for, such as having this technology to where we can very easily search online and find exercise videos, sources of inspiration. Slowly unwinding, bringing your knees back up to center. Maybe bring them in for another gentle hug. And then just letting them fall in the opposite direction. Maybe it feels good to cross that top leg over the bottom leg. Turning your head and gazing out over your right fingertips. You may find that we all learn some new skills, some new ways of doing things during this time. So while it can be difficult kind of being in social isolation, I guess they call it, it can also open up some time to do things that maybe we've been wanting to do and we just haven't been able to find the time to do it, or maybe that we didn't even realize that we wanted to do. So just instead of feeling so anxious, maybe if we just kind of take a second to stop and think of some things that we're grateful for during this time that can help us get through that. Slowly unwinding, bringing the knees back up to center, maybe giving yourself one more hug, maybe bringing the head, the forehead towards the knees. And then releasing back down, stretching your legs out long, your heels on the mat. Your arms are down by your side, palms are facing up. And just taking just a few more final moments here to just really relax, really breathe. Think about relaxing from your toes, your feet, your calves, all the way up the legs. Relaxing through your belly, your lower back, your chest and your upper back. Relaxing through your shoulders, your arms, your hands and your fingertips, your face. Letting your tongue relax away from the roof of your mouth, your eyes. Your whole body is relaxing here, just kind of melting into your mat or into your chair. Just take a moment, one final moment here, just feeling yourself being supported. Staying here for as long as you have time, for as long as your body is calling for you to relax and to restore. When you're ready, slowly slowly start to bring movement back to your body, wiggling your fingers, wiggling your toes. Maybe you stretch out long, a nice good morning stretch all the way from your fingertips to the tips of your toes. And bringing your knees in for one more gentle hug. Slowly rolling to one side and pressing yourself up into an easy seated position. Let's take one final breath together, inhaling your arms up overhead, exhaling your hands to heart center. Thank you so much for spending some time with me electronically today. I hope that you feel better, maybe more relaxed than you did when you started this practice. And I hope that you are able to continue that throughout the rest of your day or your evening. Namaste.